Marcus King stepped out of the black car and looked up at the tall hotel building. It was one of the most famous hotels in the city, with bright lights, shiny glass doors, and a big red carpet at the entrance. People were coming and going dressed, in suits and fancy dresses. Marcus walked in slowly, pulling his suitcase behind him. He wore a clean, tailored suit and shiny shoes. His watch sparkled on his wrist. He looked like a man who had everything in control. Inside the lobby, soft music played. The smell of expensive flowers filled the air. The walls were covered with art, and the furniture looked like it belonged in a magazine. Marcus went to the front desk and gave a small smile. "Good evening. I have a reservation." "Marcus King," he said, his voice calm and polite. The woman behind the desk looked up at him. She was a young woman, blonde, with a name tag that read, Emily. She looked at Marcus, then looked down at her computer. Her smile faded. "Just a moment," she said, typing slowly. Marcus waited. He looked around. A couple stood behind him, whispering and pointing at a big chandelier. A man in a suit walked past with a briefcase. Everything seemed normal, but Marcus could feel something in the air. Something strange. Emily looked up again. "I'm sorry, sir. I don't see your reservation here." Marcus frowned. "I made it online. 2 nights executive suite. I got the confirmation email." Emily gave a tight smile. "Do you have any ID?" Marcus reached into his wallet and handed her his driver's license and credit card. She looked at them for a long time. Then she turned and whispered something to the man next to her. The man, wearing a hotel uniform, looked over at Marcus, then walked away. Emily turned back. "Just a moment. I'm going to check with the manager." Marcus raised an eyebrow but said nothing. After a minute, a tall man with a shiny name badge came out. He looked serious. His name was Mr. Collins. He walked up to Marcus. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step away from the desk," he said in a firm voice. Marcus blinked. "Excuse me? We've had some complaints," Mr. Collins said. "You've been in the lobby for a while, and a few guests felt uncomfortable. We can't have people loitering." Marcus looked around. "Loitering? I just got here." The manager didn't smile. "I'm going to ask you to leave the property. If you refuse, I'll have to call security." Marcus couldn't believe what he was hearing. "I'm a guest," he said. "I paid for my room. You have my ID, my credit card. What's the problem?" Mr. Collins shook his head. "We have the right to refuse service, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to leave." People were starting to look. A few heads turned. A man near the elevators stared. A woman stopped walking and pulled her child closer. Marcus could feel eyes on him watching. "I didn't do anything wrong," Marcus said, trying to stay calm. "I'm calling security," Mr. Collins said, pulling out his phone. Within a minute, 2 large security guards walked over. One stood on each side of Marcus. They didn't say anything, just waited. Marcus looked at them, then back at the manager. He could feel heat rising in his chest. He wanted to yell. He wanted to throw something. But he didn't. He picked up his bag slowly. "I'll leave," he said, his voice low. "But you're making a mistake." The guards followed him as he walked toward the door. As he stepped outside, the cold air hit his face. He turned around once, looking up at the building again. For a second, he felt small. Like that poor kid. From Atlanta again. The one who used to walk past this very hotel, carrying newspapers in his backpack. Back then, he used to dream of staying here one day. Now he had the money, the success, the respect. But none of it had mattered. He stood on the sidewalk for a while thinking. Marcus called for another ride and waited quietly. Cars passed by. Laughter came from the hotel bar inside. He could still see the security guard standing near the door, watching him. When the car arrived, Marcus got in. The driver looked at him through the mirror. "Rough night?" the driver asked kindly. Marcus nodded. "You could say that." He didn't explain. He just sat in silence, watching the hotel disappear behind him. Back at his apartment, Marcus poured himself a glass of water and sat at the kitchen counter. He didn't turn on the TV. He didn't check his phone. He just sat there, remembering. He remembered how hard he worked to get here. The long nights studying, the business deals, the rejection, the hustle. He remembered being ignored in boardrooms, talked over in meetings, judged by his clothes or his name. But this felt worse than all of that. This felt personal. They hadn't seen Marcus King, the businessman. They saw a black man in a lobby and assumed the worst. He leaned back and closed his eyes. Still not enough. He whispered. The next day, Marcus's assistant called him. "Mr. King, I've filed a formal complaint with the hotel on your behalf. Do you want to go public with this?" Marcus thought about it. "No," he said. "Not yet." "Should we cancel future bookings with them?" Marcus paused. "No, keep them." The assistant was quiet. "Understood." Marcus hung up. He wasn't angry anymore. Now he was thinking. Thinking hard. Later that day, Marcus opened his laptop. He pulled up his real estate investment files. He looked at hotel properties in the area. He searched the name of the hotel he was kicked out of. He found out it was privately owned, not part of a chain. He looked up the company that owned it. He leaned forward and started typing. He made a new file on his computer. The title of the file, Ownership Plan, Phase 1. Marcus sat back in his leather chair, staring out the window of his downtown office. The city buzzed below him, cars honking, people rushing by, street vendors calling out. But Marcus's mind was far away, deep in memories that he hadn't thought about for a long time. He thought back to his childhood. Growing up was not easy. He was born in a small apartment in a tough neighborhood in Atlanta. The streets were loud with noise, but quiet with danger. He remembered the graffiti on the walls, the sirens at night, and the feeling of always needing to be alert. His mother worked 2 jobs to make sure Marcus and his little sister had food on the table. Even though money was tight, his mother never let them feel poor. She taught Marcus the importance of hard work and respect. When Marcus was just 12 years old, he had a paper route. Every morning before school, he would wake up early, grab a bundle of newspapers, and run from house to house, tossing newspapers on porches and through mail slots. One of the places on his route was the very hotel where he had just been kicked out. He remembered looking up at the grand building with wide glass windows and a huge sign glowing in the evening light. To young Marcus, the hotel was like a castle, full of people who seemed rich and important. He dreamed that one day he might be able to stay there, maybe even own a place like it. But those dreams felt far away back then. Marcus had no money, no connections, just hope and grit. Every day he watched other kids his age get into trouble. Some dropped out of school, some joined gangs. His neighborhood wasn't safe, and the future looked dark for many. But Marcus wanted more. He wanted to prove that where you come from didn't have to decide where you were going. He worked harder than most kids. He studied late into the night, even after long days at school. His teachers noticed his dedication and encouraged him. Still, the world wasn't always kind. He faced discrimination in school and in his community. Sometimes, people judged him before they knew him. He felt invisible. His mother always told him, "Son, don't let them write your story for you," and Marcus promised himself that he wouldn't. As the years went by, Marcus pushed through. He won a scholarship to college. He studied business and finance, learning everything he could about money, investing, and growing wealth. He took odd jobs to pay for books and food. He made mistakes along the way, bad deals, people who tried to take advantage of him. Times when he almost gave up, but he didn't. After graduating, Marcus started working at a small investment company. He learned the ropes, but he knew he could do better. Soon, he took a risk and started his own business, buying small properties, fixing them up, and renting them out. It wasn't easy. The beginning was full of late nights, endless phone calls, and times when the money was tight. But every successful deal built his confidence and his bank account. In time, Marcus grew his business. He bought bigger buildings, learned to negotiate harder, and hired people who shared his vision. Slowly, the boy from the rough neighborhood became a respected businessman. But despite his success, Marcus never forgot where he came from. He still remembered the paper route, the struggles, and the feeling of looking up at that hotel, wondering if someone like him could ever belong there. That memory now felt sharper than ever. After the humiliating moment at the hotel, Marcus realized something had not changed. No matter how much money he made, no matter how well he dressed, some people still saw him only as a black man, not as Marcus King, the entrepreneur, the owner, the person. It hurt more than he expected, but that hurt turned into something stronger. And determination. Marcus thought about the hotel staff's cold eyes, the way security looked at him like he didn't belong, the way the manager didn't even listen before asking him to leave. It was a clear message. No matter his success, he was still an outsider here. So what could he do? Fight? Sue? Complain? Marcus shook his head. Those ways might bring attention, but they wouldn't change anything. He wanted something bigger, something that would leave a lasting mark. Owning the hotel. That was the idea that sparked in his mind, not just to show off his power, but to change the place from the inside, to make sure no one else would feel the way he did. Marcus leaned forward and opened his laptop again. He started researching the hotel owners, the company behind it, and the market prices. It wasn't easy. The company was private, and information was limited. But Marcus had connections. Over the years, he built relationships with brokers, bankers, and other investors. He picked up the phone and made calls, asking discreet questions. The more he learned, the more he felt this was possible. He began to draft plans. He thought about how he would run the hotel differently, how he would train staff to respect every guest, how he would make sure the hotel reflected the diversity of the city. He wanted to create opportunities for people like him, young entrepreneurs from underprivileged neighborhoods who needed a chance. The hotel could be a place of pride, not rejection. Days turned into weeks. Marcus spent many nights working on his plan. He met with his trusted advisors and shared his vision. Some were surprised. Buying a hotel like that? It's risky, they said. But others understood. They saw his passion and knew Marcus didn't take risks blindly. He also started to think about the challenges. The hotel owners might not want to sell. The price might be too high. The staff might resist changes. But Marcus wasn't afraid. He had faced worse obstacles before. Every time he felt doubt, he remembered his mother's words. Don't let them write your story. He wasn't going to let this story end with humiliation. It was just the beginning. One afternoon, Marcus visited a quiet cafe near his office. He was meeting an old friend, David, who was an expert in real estate. David had helped Marcus with some previous deals. Over coffee, Marcus explained everything: the hotel, what happened, and his plan to buy it. David smiled. You know, Marcus, this is more than business for you. This is personal. Marcus nodded. It is. I want to change things. David leaned back and said, You have what it takes. Just remember, it won't be easy. People don't like change. But if anyone can do it, it's you. Marcus left the cafe feeling more determined. He would find a way. In the following weeks, Marcus reached out to the company that owned the hotel. He sent letters expressing interest, asking for meetings. At first, the response was slow. The owners seemed uninterested. But Marcus kept pushing. He prepared a business proposal that showed how he could improve the hotel's profits, increase its reputation, and bring in more guests. He highlighted his experience and commitment. Finally, the owners agreed to meet. The day of the meeting, Marcus dressed sharply and arrived early. The room was filled with suits and serious faces. The owners were older men who had run the hotel for decades. Marcus spoke calmly and clearly. He shared his story, not just about business, but about respect, dignity, and change. He told them about being kicked out and what it meant to him. He explained how he wanted to turn the hotel into a place where everyone would feel welcome. There were moments of silence. Some owners exchanged glances. Finally, one of them spoke. "You have passion," he said, "and a clear vision. We will consider your offer." Marcus left the meeting hopeful but cautious. He knew the road ahead was long. There would be negotiations, legal hurdles, and maybe even opposition. But he had taken the first step. Every day, he reminded himself why he started. Not for revenge or pride, but to make a better place for others who looked like him. To turn his painful memory into a story of hope. That hotel was no longer just a building. It was a symbol of everything. Marcus had overcome the struggles, the doubts, and the dreams, and he was ready to take it back. Marcus felt a new kind of energy after the meeting. He knew that buying the hotel was not going to be easy. The owners were older and had been running the hotel for a long time. Changing their minds would take more than just words. But Marcus was ready for the challenge. He spent the next few weeks studying everything about the hotel, its finances, the staff, the guests, and the neighborhood. He wanted to understand how the business worked so he could make the best offer. Every morning, Marcus woke up early and checked emails from brokers and lawyers. He met with his financial team to review his resources. He had saved a lot of money from his previous investments, but this was a big purchase. He wanted to make sure he was prepared. One day, Marcus sat down with his business partner, Jenna. Jenna was smart and experienced in hotel management. She had worked with him on other projects and believed in his vision. "Marcus," Jenna said, "this hotel needs more than just new ownership. It needs a new heart. You need to show them why you're the right person to lead this change." Marcus nodded. "I know. It's not just about money. It's about respect and creating a place where everyone feels welcome." Jenna smiled. "Exactly. And that will take time. You have to be patient." Marcus appreciated her honesty. Patience was not easy for him. He was used to acting fast, closing deals quickly, and moving on to the next project. But this was different. This was personal. Meanwhile, word about Marcus's interest in the hotel began to spread. Some people in the community supported him. They admired how he turned a painful moment into a goal to improve the hotel. Local newspapers picked up the story, but Marcus kept a low profile. He didn't want to create too much noise before the deal was final. He knew that too much attention could make the owners nervous. At the hotel, the staff noticed changes too. The manager, Mr. Collins, seemed tense. He knew Marcus was serious about buying the place. Some employees talked in whispers. Others avoided eye contact when Marcus passed by. One evening, Marcus visited the hotel again. Not as a guest, but as a potential buyer. He walked through the lobby, observing everything. The furniture looked worn. Some lights flickered. The cleaning was not as thorough as it should be. He could see the hotel had potential, but it needed care and new energy. He met with some employees in the back office. They were surprised to see him there. "Mr. King?" one woman asked, her voice shaky. "Yes," Marcus said kindly. "I'm thinking about buying the hotel. I want to hear from you. What do you like about working here? What could be better?" The employees looked at each other, unsure. Slowly, stories came out about long hours, little training, and sometimes feeling ignored by management. Marcus listened carefully. "We're going to change that," he promised. "If I own this place, you'll be part of the team that makes it better." The employees smiled, some with hope in their eyes. Back in his office, Marcus worked on his offer. He knew the owners wanted a high price. The hotel was in a good location, and it had been running for years. But Marcus was careful. He didn't want to overpay. He prepared a detailed financial plan showing how he would increase profits by improving customer service, upgrading the hotel's image, and attracting new guests. He wanted to convince the owners that he was not just a buyer, but a partner who cared about the hotel's future. Marcus also reached out to a few investors who might want to join him. Some were friends from the business world who believed in his mission. Together they formed a group ready to support the purchase. Negotiations began. The owners asked for more money. Marcus offered less. They argued over details like property maintenance and employee contracts. It was a slow and sometimes frustrating process, but Marcus stayed calm. He knew this was part of the game. One afternoon, during a tense phone call, the lead owner said, "Marcus, why do you want this hotel so badly? It's not just a business to you, is it?" Marcus paused, then answered honestly, "Because I was treated badly here. Because I want this hotel to be a place where no one feels like they don't belong." There was silence on the line. Finally, the owner said, "I respect that. Let's keep talking." As the weeks passed, Marcus's offer improved. He agreed to keep many of the hotel's current employees and promised to invest in staff training. He even suggested starting community programs to help local youth learn skills in hospitality. The owners started to soften. One day, Marcus received a call from the lead owner. "Marcus, we want to meet in person. Let's see if we can make a deal." The meeting was set for a bright Friday morning in a small conference room at the hotel. Marcus arrived early, dressed in his best suit. The owners were waiting. The atmosphere was serious but respectful. They went over the final terms: price, conditions, timelines. Marcus stayed firm but fair. He didn't want to rush, but he wanted to show he was ready. After hours of talking, the owners agreed. They shook hands. Marcus had done it. He was on the path to owning the hotel. That night, Marcus sat alone in his apartment, thinking about the journey ahead. He knew that owning the hotel was just the start. Changing the hotel's culture, improving its reputation, and healing old wounds would take time. But he felt ready. He picked up his phone and called his mother. "Mom," he said, "I'm going to own the hotel I told you about." There was silence for a moment. Then her voice broke with emotion. "I'm so proud of you, Marcus." Tears filled his eyes. He knew the road wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in a long while, he felt hope. Marcus's victory in the meeting was just the beginning of a much bigger journey. Owning the hotel was a dream come true, but running it was going to be a completely new challenge. He knew this deeply because owning a business was one thing, changing its heart and soul was another. The first days after the purchase were full of excitement and nerves. Marcus went to the hotel early each morning. The building was his now, but it still felt strange walking through the halls as the new owner. He looked at the worn carpets, the old furniture, and the tired faces of some staff members. It was clear that the hotel had been neglected, and there was a lot of work ahead. One morning, Marcus gathered all the employees in the lobby. There were housekeepers, receptionists, bellboys, chefs, and managers. He looked out at the crowd, seeing some familiar faces from his earlier visits and some new ones. "I want to thank each of you for your hard work," Marcus began. "This hotel is more than just a building. It's a community, and it belongs to all of us. Together, we will make it a place where guests feel welcome, and where everyone who works here feels respected and valued." He could see some people smiling. Others looked skeptical. Change was scary. Marcus continued, "I know some of you might have doubts or fears. That's natural. But I promise, I'm here to listen and to work with you. We're going to start training programs, improve working conditions, and build a positive team." After the meeting, Marcus spoke one-on-one with many employees. He wanted to know their stories and what they needed. He found out about long shifts without breaks, poor communication from management, and low morale. Many employees felt invisible. Marcus took notes. He didn't have all the answers yet, but he was determined to find them. Next, Marcus hired a new hotel manager, Sarah, who had a reputation for kindness and leadership. Sarah had worked at several hotels and believed strongly in fair treatment for staff and guests alike. She shared Marcus's vision and was ready to help turn the hotel around. Together, Marcus and Sarah created a plan. They started with staff training focused on customer service, teamwork, and respect. They brought in experts to teach hospitality, skills, and to create a friendly environment. The hotel also got a fresh coat of paint, new furniture, and improved lighting. Marcus invested in modern technology for reservations and guest services. He wanted the hotel to feel welcoming and modern, but without losing its charm. One day Marcus walked through the hotel and noticed a small girl sitting in the lobby, clutching her mother's hand. The mother looked worried. Marcus approached. "Them, is everything okay?" he asked gently. The mother explained that they had a problem with their room. The air conditioning was broken, and the family had a long day of travel. Marcus apologized and promised to fix the issue quickly. He instructed the staff to move the family to a better room and offered them complimentary meals at the hotel restaurant. The mother smiled, relief washing over her face. It was small moments like these that Marcus wanted to increase, moments where guests felt cared for and appreciated. Word about the hotel's changes started to spread. Guests noticed friendlier staff and cleaner rooms. Online reviews improved. The hotel began to attract new customers, including families, business travelers, and tourists. Local community leaders also took notice. Marcus invited schools and youth organizations to visit the hotel and learn about hospitality careers. He started scholarship programs for young people interested in business. Marcus remembered his own youth, wondering if someone would believe in him. Now he wanted to be that someone for others. Despite the progress, challenges remained. Some employees resisted the new rules and training. A few longtime staff members were unhappy with Marcus's leadership style and left the hotel. The change was uncomfortable for many. Marcus faced complaints from neighbors about noise from hotel events. He worked closely with local authorities to address concerns and ensure the hotel was a good neighbor. Running the hotel was more complex than he expected. He often stayed late, working on budgets, staff schedules, and marketing plans. But Marcus didn't give up. One afternoon, Marcus received an invitation to speak at a business conference about his journey. He accepted, wanting to share his story of resilience and hope. At the conference, Marcus told the audience about being kicked out of the hotel and how that moment inspired him to take ownership. He spoke about overcoming discrimination, working hard, and believing in himself. The audience was moved. Many came up afterward to shake his hand and thank him for sharing. Marcus realized his story could inspire others, not just in business, but in life. Back at the hotel, Marcus decided to host a grand reopening event. It was a celebration of new beginnings for the hotel, the staff, and the community. He invited local leaders, business people, media, and neighbors. The hotel lobby was decorated with flowers and lights. Musicians played soft jazz, and waiters served drinks and appetizers. Marcus gave a speech, thanking everyone for their support and promising to continue working hard. Guests toured the hotel, enjoying the new rooms and amenities. The atmosphere was filled with hope and excitement. After the event, Marcus walked through the hotel halls alone. He thought about the long journey, from the boy with a paper route to the man who now owned one of the city's most important hotels. He felt proud, but also humble. He knew the real work was still ahead. Changing hearts and minds took time, but Marcus was ready for every challenge. He smiled, thinking of the next steps. Owning the hotel was a huge success for Marcus, but his journey was far from over. He knew that simply having the keys to the building was not enough. He wanted to build a legacy, a place that would not only serve guests but also uplift the community, and inspire others like him. After the grand reopening, the hotel began attracting more attention than ever before. People came not just to stay, but to experience something different, a hotel run with care, respect, and heart. Marcus worked hard every day to make sure this promise was kept. He believed that a hotel was more than a place to sleep. It was a place where memories were made, where families laughed, business deals were struck, and travelers found comfort far from home. Marcus wanted everyone who walked through the doors to feel valued and welcomed. To do this, he kept improving the hotel's services. He added a cozy cafe where local artists could display their work. He organized cultural events, inviting musicians, poets, and dancers to share their talents. Marcus thought that these events would not only bring the community together, but also give guests a unique experience. Marcus also started a training academy inside the hotel, offering free courses in hospitality for young people from the neighborhood. He hired experienced teachers and invited industry professionals to speak. Many students who graduated from the academy found jobs at the hotel or other places in the city. Seeing young people excited about their futures made Marcus proud. He remembered his own struggles and how hard it had been to find guidance and opportunity. Now, he was providing that for others. However, running a hotel was not without difficulties. One winter, the city faced a severe storm. Roads were blocked, power went out, and many businesses closed. Marcus knew the hotel had to stay open, especially for travelers stranded by the weather. During the storm, Marcus and his team worked around the clock. They provided hot meals, blankets, and comfort to guests. When the power failed, Marcus brought in generators and flashlights. Staff took turns checking on rooms, making sure everyone was safe. One night, an elderly couple staying at the hotel became ill. Marcus personally arranged transportation to the hospital and stayed with them until help arrived. The couple later sent a thank you letter saying Marcus's kindness had saved their lives. This storm tested Marcus's leadership and commitment. Despite exhaustion, he kept going because he knew that true success was about more than profits. It was about caring for people. Business continued to grow, but Marcus never lost sight of his roots. He remembered the pain of being kicked out of the hotel years ago, the feeling of rejection and humiliation. That memory fueled his passion to make the hotel a place where no one would ever feel unwelcome. One day, Marcus was walking through the lobby when a young man approached him. The man looked nervous but determined. "Mr. King," he said, "I want to thank you. When I was younger, I struggled like you. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. But seeing what you've done with this hotel gives me hope. I want to work here and learn." Marcus smiled warmly. "You're welcome any time. We'll help you grow." The young man became an apprentice at the hotel, learning everything from front desk work to event planning. Over time, he gained confidence and skills. Marcus saw in him the same fire he had felt years ago. Stories like this reminded Marcus why his work mattered. He was not just building a hotel, he was building futures. Despite all the positive changes, Marcus faced criticism from some corners. There were people who didn't like the idea of a black man owning such a prestigious hotel. Some competitors tried to undercut his business. Negative rumors spread on social media. Marcus learned to handle these challenges with grace. He refused to respond with anger or bitterness. Instead, he focused on his mission and let his work speak for itself. He often said, "Haters will always hate, but I'm here to build, not to fight." His calm and confident attitude earned him respect over time. Marcus also took time to give back beyond the hotel. He supported local charities, sponsored community events, and spoke at schools about entrepreneurship and resilience. He believed that success meant little if it did not help others rise. His mother watched proudly as her son became a community leader. She often told friends, "Marcus is changing the world, one step at a time." Marcus never forgot her sacrifices. Every decision he made was influenced by the lessons she taught him: hard work, kindness, and believing in yourself. Years passed, and the hotel flourished. It won awards for excellence in hospitality and community service. Marcus's story inspired countless people, young and old, rich and poor. One day, a journalist asked Marcus what his secret to success was. He thought for a moment and said, "Never let anyone tell you who you are or what you can be. Use every setback as a step forward. Work hard, stay humble, and always be kind." Marcus knew that his journey wasn't just about money or fame. It was about breaking barriers and creating opportunities. Looking back, Marcus realized how far he had come. From a boy kicked out of a hotel to the proud owner who changed that very place. His story was proof that no matter where you start, with determination and heart, you could rewrite your future. And as Marcus looked out the hotel window one evening, watching the city lights sparkle, he felt at peace. The hotel was more than a building. It was a symbol of hope, strength, and new beginnings. Marcus smiled, ready for whatever the future held.